Our special in-studio guest right now is provincial Conservative leader Eric Duhaime. Welcome back.
It's always a pleasure.
You're becoming a regular here on the show.
That's a good news.
Kind of nice. So we're going to talk Bill 96. We did the story last week, covered this, heard from a lot of people very angry, very upset, embarrassed, humiliated, call whatever you will, because now that new provision in Bill 96, which went into effect June 1st, forces you to, for all intents and purposes, prove you're an Anglo or you're qualified to get services in English from the government. Now, this is the original call from Montreal to 311. This is what the message was last week.
Bienvenue à la ville de Montréal. Pour le service en français, faites le 1. For service in English, press 2. In accordance with the Charter of the French language, we will be pleased to provide service in English if you attest in good faith that you are covered by one of the following exceptions. If you are a person declared eligible to receive English education, if you are an Indigenous person, if you are a recently arrived immigrant residing in Quebec for less than 6 months, if you are calling from outside of Quebec, or if you corresponded solely in English with the City of Montreal prior to May 13th, 2021. If you attest in good faith, please press 2. Otherwise, please press 1.
Okay, that was the message that the city had. We had Valerie Plante on the show on Friday. She seemed, if it's fair to say, a little embarrassed by this.
Yeah,
right?
Of course. It's not her decision,
Exactly.
actually.
And the city had a banner up, by the way, when you went to their website. That banner has since been removed, which is not to say it won't come back in some other form. But, you know, it's surprising. Typically, when we have reactions like this, it's Anglo on one side, Franco on another side. And you're about to tell me that you think even on the Francophone side, there's embarrassment over this.
Well, obviously, because what does it tell you? It says that if you're a Francophone, you don't have access to English school, you're not an Aboriginal, you're not an immigrant, or you're not someone who's calling from abroad, then you have less rights and less services. And it's not just true for people calling. It's even true for websites. Like, since when, wherever did you see a website that says if you're not a true Anglophone, you can't read this message and you can't read this website, go on the French version? It's never seen. Like, it's something unique, to say the least. And I think that even as Francophones, we need to be worried because our rights should be all the same. Our rights are rights. I mean, you cannot say that we have less rights because we're Francophone. We can't go on a website that is English. And no matter what the reasons are, it's not the government's business to know why I'm surfing on a website that is English or French. It's my personal decision between me and my computer, and it's just so offensive. And I understand why we're there. We're there because François Legault is trying to show that he's the savior of French in the Quebec nation, and he wants to show that he's tough on Anglos and on immigrants. That's been, you know, the way he's done politics forever, especially in the last election campaign. But is that going to save French in Quebec? Is French today safer because we have silly messages like that? The answer is obviously no.
Okay,
so
and
why
yet
are we going there?
We have heard from some Francophones that they believe it actually doesn't go far enough, that it doesn't do enough to protect them. What do you say to that?
Well, bring me examples of things that would protect truly French, but this is obviously not. It's just poking English community, and it's at its face. It's a bureaucratic lesson. Like, they're even telling you if you arrived in Quebec before this date, or if you had services in English prior to this date 3 years ago, or, I mean, you don't need to apply that. And what's going to happen to cities who are not respecting those rules? That's the other question we have today. Like cities like Côte-Saint-Luc, who was smart enough not to have that kind of message. Are they going to get, I don't know what they're going to get, a ticket? Are they going to seize their website?
The same message also says, and I think Jean-François Robert sort of highlighted this during the week, it says, if you attest in good faith. In other words, no one's asking you for proof. We're on the honor system here. If you say you're eligible for services in English, the government will accept the fact that you're eligible for. So what's the point of having it at all?
Exactly. So everybody can say whatever they want. So why are they doing it then? Or is it the first step, and then are they going to come out with a card and say, okay, those kind of Quebecers, are we going to split and divide Quebecers? I mean, Anglophones who are still in Quebec after all those years, are Anglophones who understand and want to participate. In every way, form, or shape, the English community has helped the French community over the last few decades. The attitude has changed. I mean, people are much more bilingual than ever. Their kids go much more to French immersion programs. They marry more Francophones. They're part of a distinct society, and they choose to stay in Quebec because they want to be part of that uniqueness. So can we stop bugging them with stupid questions like that and insulting everyone?
Does this make us a laughingstock?
Obviously. I mean, think of somebody who's outside of Quebec listening to that kind of message. They probably think it's unreal. Like, it's, at first, even me, when I read it in La Presse last week, I thought it was a joke. I had to go back to the bill and make sure that it was true and make phone calls and go even on the website to check with my own eyes because I thought it was a joke.
And so just before going on air, we discussed the fact that there should be more outrage about it. And you were like, I am surprised that people aren't just losing it over this. And I was saying to you, I feel like we've just reached a point as a community where we're in a total state of disbelief, but we've also been worn down. We've also been incredibly worn down.
But look, the Anglophones, and I'm not happy of that because I was fighting against them, but the English community in Montreal choose to vote for the Liberals. Obviously, that's their last stronghold, and that's why even if they had the same amount of votes than we did, they're having 20 MNAs right now at the National Assembly because their vote were concentrated in the west end of Montreal. Where are those 20 people today? They should be outraged. They should be on their desk at the National Assembly right now, screaming. Where are they? How come they're not coming out and fighting for your rights? What are they doing?
Because they don't need to. Because they don't need to. They don't need us.
For granted.
Well,
exactly.
And they don't need us to win.
No, you're starting to sound like you're in an election campaign now, in election mode. I mean, yes, you're right. It's a bit disappointing, perhaps, as an Anglo that up until now we haven't heard a whole lot from the provincial Liberals. Then again, we haven't heard a whole lot, I don't think, from Quebec Solidaire or from the Parti Québécois either.
But
so why is that?
It's not surprising. I mean, the separatist parties are not going to start screaming out loud, but the Liberals should.
But is Quebec Solidaire, do you classify them as I know that's part of their platform.
That's
but
their program. I can't deny that. I mean, they say that they want, if they're elected, they're going to present a project of separation. So I take it for granted. But I can tell you, like, we were competitive in the most non-Francophone constituency in Quebec. And we did 23% with Bonnie Feigenbaum in Darcy McGee. If she was elected today, I can tell you she would be at the National Assembly screaming. And she would have her leader next to her saying we agree with her and supporting her 100%. And I don't. And it's been the same thing with Bill 96 from the beginning. If you do recall, the Liberals even proposed amendments that were worse than the CAQ. Yeah. And I'm just telling the English community in Quebec, and I'm not telling you to vote conservative, but you guys need to politically put your act together because people that you're elected are not fighting for your rights. And today we're talking about something that is fundamental. It's your basic rights. The right to go on a website or to make a phone call to have a government service. I mean, how low are we going to go?
And you're not getting flack from your Francophone circles for sticking up for Anglophones in this kind of way? Probably.
But I mean, at one point, you're in politics. Why? Because you want to make a difference and there's values that you truly believe in. And you cannot negotiate such things, and you cannot defend something that at its eyes should be undefendable. And I mean, it's not, yes, there's going to be nationalists who are going to scream and say, oh, you're fighting for Anglo. I'm not even doing it for the English community. I'm doing it even for the French community who's insulted when they go on the website and they can't have access. It's a matter of rights. It's not a matter of linguistic issues, actually.
So, you're aware, if you were to go on that website and your last name is Duhaime, you wouldn't be able to get service in English.
And how are they going to monitor that? I mean, I got a father today who called me and said, look, I was born in an English family. My parents were pro-French. They sent me to French school. I lost my historic rights. I married an English woman. Now we have rights. Our kids have their right to go back to English school. So my kids can have access to the website in English, but I can't. Like, how are they going to monitor all of that? I mean,
it's impossible. It's absolutely. It really is lip service.
But what comes of this? You have a party, unfortunately, in the case of the CAQ, that has a majority. They can vote any way they want it. You can sit here. We can all be outraged. What has to happen? What's going to happen?
Well, we need to also, I think that even outside of Quebec now, there's going to be some pressure because we're going to become a laughingstock. Because we have to awake people to say, look, we cannot go that way. We have kind of a bonne entente right now. There's no fights in the streets. And, we went through a lot of linguistic battles in the past. The last thing we need is to go back to those things. And the CAQ is trying to poke the English community because this is what they're looking for, because they think that politically speaking, it could be good for them. But I don't think that for Quebec it's good. And it's not for my party or against my party. It's a matter of fact that Quebec suffered a lot. If economically Montreal went down the drain compared to Toronto, we have to all recall that it's because of that in great part.
Instability, for sure.
And do we really want to go back there? Like, what's our interest to go there? I understand François Legault's political interest in the short term, but in the long run for Quebec, it's the worst thing that can happen.
But if you factor the whole separation party out, so you said Quebec Solidaire, separation in their agenda, Parti Québécois, separation in their agenda, even with that, can't we look at a situation like this as you are right now and simply say, unite in opposition to say, this is bad, this is stupid, this is embarrassing for the province?
You're absolutely right. We should reach out to the Parti Québécois and Quebec Solidaire. Quebec Solidaire, though, we have to recall, they voted in favor of Bill 96. The Parti Québécois voted against it because they thought it was not going far enough. But still, in front of such silliness, I guess there's a few members who could actually come out, and I hope they're going to do. I'm going to call them, and I'm going to try to see if there's some opposition who still have common sense. But unfortunately, we said that a year or two ago when Bill 96 came out. We were like, it's not going to improve French in Quebec. It's just going to put trouble on the road. And we see it not just with the websites. We see it with businesses who want to invest in Quebec right now.
Oh, for sure.
They're thinking twice. It's sending a very bad reputation.
Well, and immigrants who want to come, and economic immigrants as well are saying, no, it's not a welcoming place. It's too complicated.
The backwards part of this, as far as businesses go, and I think the government does this. Correct me if I'm wrong. You come here as a business, you look at these laws, and you say, you know what, I don't want to come. It's too confusing. It's too complicated. And the government says, you know what, in your case, we'll give you an exemption. You don't have to worry about that.
And that shows how stupid it is.
I agree.
And then it's a double standard. So why should we have laws so politicians could,
find ways around them?
Just because they want to score political points? It makes zero sense to anyone.
It's always great to have you come in. I wish we had more time.
Thank you so much.
Feel free to come by any time you like.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
It's too bad there's not an election. I think what you said really resonated with a lot of people. But
the Liberals would probably move if there was an election right now. They're not moving because they take it for granted and they know they don't need in the short term to please the English community. But it's not even. We have to stop seeing it as Anglos against Francos. I hate that approach.
Eric Duhaime, leader of the Provincial Conservative Party, live in studio.